All right, everybody, welcome back. Today, we're going deep on Hastelloy.
Hastelloy.
And it's a metal that's been called a superalloy.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at an episode of Material Matters to kind of figure out what makes this metal so unique.
Yeah.
And why it's so important for some pretty demanding applications.
It's a really cool material, and when you start looking into it, you realize it's really special.
Yeah, so when I hear superalloy, I kind of think, okay, is
it hype?
Is this really a superalloy, or is this just,
right,
marketing?
Is it just a name?
But from what I've seen, I think it might actually live up to that name.
I think so too. And you know what's really interesting about Hastelloy is it's not just about strength.
Okay.
It's the way it's made. So it's a nickel-based alloy.
Okay.
But it also has things like molybdenum and chromium in it.
Gotcha.
And what that does is it creates this passive oxide layer.
Okay.
So almost like an invisible shield.
Yeah.
That protects it from even the strongest acids that are used in chemical processing.
So it can withstand some really, really harsh environments.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it sounded like a superalloy to me.
Yeah.
The Material Matters episode mentioned chemical reactors and aerospace parts.
Right.
What kind of challenges did those industries face that require something as specialized as Hastelloy?
I mean, you're talking about extremes, right?
Yeah.
Chemical reactors, you've got these highly corrosive substances at really high temperatures, really high pressures.
Right.
And then for aerospace components, you're dealing with intense heat, rapid temperature changes.
Oh, wow.
And then exposure to all these corrosive elements at high altitudes. Jeez. So Hastelloy's ability to maintain its strength and not fall apart, basically, in these conditions makes it really valuable.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I actually saw that they're using it in marine environments, too.
Yes.
That it seems like a huge leap to go from, like, the controlled environment of a reactor to, like, the ocean.
Well, think about it. The ocean is incredibly corrosive.
That's true.
And so because Hastelloy is so good at resisting corrosion, it's perfect for things like ship propellers, wapsi pipelines, and even like deep sea exploration equipment.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So we've established that this does tough.
Yeah.
What about actually working with it?
Right.
So the podcast talked about TIG welding.
Yes.
Being super important.
It's really critical
when it comes to Hastelloy.
And it comes down to maintaining all those properties that we've been talking about.
Okay.
TIG welding, it offers this really high level of control.
Okay.
So you can be super precise with how much heat you're using.
Gotcha.
Which is essential because if you don't weld it right, you risk messing up all that corrosion resistance and the structural integrity that makes Hastelloy so special.
So, like, it's not a material that you can just take to any welder.
Exactly.
You need somebody who really knows what they're doing.
Exactly. You need to find a team that specializes in Hastelloy.
Right.
And one of the things they mentioned in the podcast were these certifications, like ASTM and ASME.
Yes.
And these are basically like proof that a fabricator knows what they're doing, that they understand the nuances of working with this metal.
So it's more than just like general experience with nickel alloys.
Exactly. It's about knowing the specific procedures to make sure that whatever you're building can actually withstand these really intense environments.
And that's a pretty important takeaway.
Yes, especially if you're working on a project where failure is not an option.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it seems like Hastelloy, its properties, and then combining that with the right fabricator makes it a total game changer for all these different industries that are dealing with these really extreme environments.
Definitely.
I'm curious, when you think about Hastelloy, like, what do you think the future holds for this material?
I think it's already expanding rapidly into fields like renewable energy. You know, things like geothermal power generation, offshore wind farms.
Interesting.
I think as industries kind of push the boundaries of what's possible, we're going to see a lot more uses for Hastelloy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And for everyone listening, I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
If Hastelloy is already in renewable energy, how else could we use its properties to kind of solve some of the challenges that we're facing when we're trying to make a more sustainable future?
That's a great question.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
This was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.